A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I warmly welcome all the international and national schools, their team leaders, and the participants in the 9th Odyssey International Open Mic session. It is my proud privilege to finally welcome Mrs. Vera Hajela, whose charismatic and vivacious personality inspires all the masses. Mrs. Vera Hajela was born back in England. She did a graduation from Isabella Thoburn College and a master's from Lucknow University and has a diploma in public administration, becoming gold medalist from University of Lucknow. Mrs. Vera Hajela is treasured with experience of 30 years of teaching. She is a recipient of the Ideal Teacher Award in the year 2011, the Mother Teresa Sadbhavna Award in the year 2013. Mrs. Vera Hajela is a prolific writer, and her articles has been published in the magazine, namely The Mentor and The Progressive Teacher. Mrs. Vera Hajela has been a strong debater and a remarkable actor throughout her student life, and an extraordinary compere for various international and national events. Moreover, her passion lies in the enhancement of English language in every conceivable way possible for her students. I would also like to welcome two of our esteemed guests. Our first guest is Professor Alexandro Maximilian, and our second guest is Gaylord Dewey Ajay. Both our guests are assistant professor in the Department of English Language at Bandar Lampung, Indonesia. I would also like to welcome our facilitators, Ms. Uzma, Ms. Sarah, and Ms. Rashmi, who would be facilitating the breakout rooms. The house is now officially open for open mic session. The topic for today's session is Charles Dickens and his works in the Victorian era. I would now request Mrs. Vera Hajela to kindly take the proceedings further. Over to you, Vera ma'am.
Thank you very much, Akanksha. Good afternoon and Jai Jagat to all the lovely participants online. This wonderful platform of Odyssey, the 9th Odyssey International, this afternoon here in India. And we have very esteemed participants, I have been given to understand. So truly an honor and privilege for me to be able to share a few thoughts on Charles Dickens of the Victorian era, his works, and all that it entails. Ladies and gentlemen, talking about the privilege and honor, all of that, yes. But this is an opportunity for all of us to celebrate literature, and today in particular, Charles Dickens. Can we have the first slide, please, up on our screens? Here we are, going back in time, talking about the Charles Dickens, and allow me to use the definite article there with the proper noun. Dickens, ladies and gentlemen, enjoyed a wider popularity during his lifetime than had any previous author. The range, the things that he wrote about, his compassion, his level of compassion, and intelligence of his apprehension of his society and its shortcomings, mind you, the shortcomings, enriched his novels and resultantly made him both one of the great forces in 19th century literature and an influential spokesman of the conscience of his age. A great novelist indeed. The next slide. Charles Dickens was one of the most important and perceptive social commentators who used fiction effectively to criticize economic, social, and moral abuses, if you will, in the Victorian era. Now, when I'm talking about this, I must mention here that literature indeed is a very, very important tool to highlight and to bring forth both the good and the bad about the society in those times, for everybody to understand what was it that propelled the author to write about those things that he did in his works. Charles Dickens, ladies and gentlemen, showed empathy and compassion towards the vulnerable and the disadvantaged segments of English society, and contributed to several important social reforms which were the need of the hour then. Not to forget that it had a lot to do with his own sufferings and what he was afflicted with as a child. He had a traumatic childhood himself. He worked in a shoe blacking factory at the tender age of 12 and suffered the atrocities along with. His father suffered imprisonment because of the debts that he owed to people. He believed in the ethical